guys, welcome back to the channel, and I got another recap for you guys. We're doing Married at First Sight Australia season 9 episode number 15 recaps. And we got a few implosions going on these honeymoons, and we got one final couple that get married. So before we jump into this, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, set it to all so you'll get notified every time I post. And also feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section below. I enjoy interacting with you guys and looking at your conversations and comments. So without further ado, let's jump into this. So after Kate and Matt get married, and also Carolina and Dion tied a knot, the couples are off to celebrate their honeymoon. But for another couple we have now is Jessica and Daniel, and they're just getting started on their journey. So what we know about Daniel is that he grew up in a broken home where he, his brother, and his sister lived with their father. The dad was an alcoholic. I mean, he said that he drank alcohol from morning to night, and then he turned into what you would call somewhat a monster. He didn't have that much of a relationship with his mom. And then, unfortunately, his brother, when he was 17 and when the brother was 21, he took his own life. Daniel did reveal that fitness and being in the gym changed his life for the better. And it also taught him discipline and hard work and kind of helped him get back on track. He is 30. He wants to start a family. And, one thing he did say is having a healthy relationship is something that's important to him, and that he's very close to his niece and his sister. Now, Daniel, what he's looking for in a wife is a person that has emotional intelligence, who is a good communicator, and the experts has this 27-year-old woman named Jess set up just for him. Now, she's also grown up with her set of struggles, losing her sister to breast cancer. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she said her sister was 12 at the time, or maybe she was 12 when the older sister had it. Guys, let me know down in the comment section what exactly that was. But it definitely shaped her. She had to grow up a lot quicker. And the thing is, it really drew her in, with her parents. The thing is, with this particular wedding, there were a lot of COVID restrictions going on. So they had to tie the knot by themselves. So I always like to see the groom's face when the bride walks down the aisle, and Daniel turned around. He was blown away about, looking at his bride, because he absolutely thought she was beautiful. Jess could pick up on his energy as well, saying that, he seemed like a pretty chill dude, pretty calm and down to earth. They went ahead and did their vows and everything, and actually, I thought they were going to get off on a good start. It seems so far so good, and they had their little kiss and everything. They looked good together. They did get a chance, of course, after the ceremony to go ahead and sit down, because they had a little private reception. And this is where they really started to go deep and bond, because they open up to each other about the loss in their lives. Jess telling him about her sister passing away from breast cancer. And then, of course, on the other side, Daniel revealing to her that his brother died, by taking his own life. And that made them definitely feel more connected. And that's the stuff that I was saying that Mitch and Ella needed to do instead of being so surface, to kind of have those deep conversations. Now, later that night, they continue to have a chat, and Jess makes a comment that kind of threw him off. She said something about the fact that when it comes time for her real life wedding, then she's going to be wearing something different, and he went there. Boy, did that throw him off guard. And my thing is, he should have asked pretty much what she meant. He just took off, ran to production, and told them what she said about the whole thing about this is not her real wedding. And I'm like, dude, just ask. I'm sitting and watching this, and I'm like, just ask. But he overthink it. And so he claiming, first of all, he lied and said he was going to the toilet, but he ended up running off to a producer. And then calling it fake. What do you mean? This is a fake wedding? What do you mean your real wedding? I just don't know if she's genuine. Or I don't know if she's here for the right reason. I'm like, dude, no. If you want to know where she's coming from, you gotta ask a question. So then he walk outside to throw all this stuff at her. I need to know if you're genuine. You need to pretty much let me know that you're here for the right reasons. And I'm like, would you just ask the girl? And she was like, yeah, this is real to me, but it's just us right now. I would hope that you will want another wedding with my family and friends and with your family and friends because they couldn't be here due to the restrictions. And she was like, why did you freak out and leave? You could have just asked. And that definitely set her in a different direction. She was turned off. And I would have been too, because I'm like, you didn't even ask. You just create a whole narrative in your head, ran off. First you lied and said where you were going. And then you turn around and tell the producers. And then after having a little bit of a tiff, you want to come back and tell me I need to be genuine. You got to ask the right questions. You will get an answer. And I'm glad she told him that. Don't just run off. If you want to know something, communicate with me. So I was 110% on her side with this one because you don't do that. All he had to do was ask. So pretty much they ended the evening in a crisis. So they pretty much wasn't feeling each other. Now, let's talk about their honeymoon. So Daniel wakes up the next morning saying that he feels like an idiot, as he should. And Jess likes the fact that he's taking accountability for his actions because, if this was in the past, she said she would have been gone. I don't blame her because it's like you already acting out. So they got a chance to spend some time together doing some painting. And then they also, that gave them more time to bond and kind of open up. And she definitely felt a lot closer to him. Once he started talking about his father and everything and how it was living with him as he pretty much his dad drunk throughout the entire day. But she was definitely sympathizing with him, which made, it kind of made her forget about last night, So the fact that he did take accountability, I do want to give credit to that. I also give credit where credit is due. So I do give him credit for being able to take accountability and saying he was an idiot for that. So that got behind them. They looked like they was able to move forward for the moment. And then pretty much, enjoy the little painting excursion that they had. But let's talk about this whole honesty box thing. So that famous question came up, just like with the other couples, are you attracted to me? Jess told him, even though she did find him good looking, he's not her usual type. And he was like, okay, cool. Daniel responded pretty much the same not the same. He did say Jess was his type, but not his dream girl. Then there was a free question. Jess decided to ask him. Now, she only known him 24 hours. If you could change something about me, let's say physically, what would that be? And he was like, now, why would you do that to me? That puts me in a position to look like the D word, asking me to hurt your feelings. And she was pretty much like, okay, by you not answering that question is an answer. Okay, first of all, that is a trick question. Because if he says, well, I think your head is shaped differently, I could change that. Or if I could change your hair, or if I could change your waist, or if I could change this. In most cases, women is not going to like the answer. And to national TV watchers, Of course, there is something that's going to trigger the fans, and they are going to react to what he has to say. So that's putting him in a trick bag. That's just like asking your husband or boyfriend, you got a dress. Does this dress make me look, bigger, smaller, flatter, whatever? There is probably no answer unless you're mature enough mentally and emotionally healthy enough to take whatever that is to say, you know what, this dress, maybe you should wear that one. This one flatters you better. This, that, and the third. There are a lot of women that won't take kindly to any answer that he's come up with. Now, I did see the comment section earlier in the episode video that I posted. And some folks was like, all he had to say was, you know what? Let's see after time. Right now, I'm looking at you. I think you're beautiful. So there was so many answers in the comment section about how he could address this without setting red flags or a red alert off to her. But he felt like he was being trapped. And that's out of everything she could have asked, that's the one thing you would ask is, what would you change about my physical appearance? You ask a man that, yeah. So, it of course made her mad. Now, somebody said that if he had to say, I wouldn't change nothing, then she probably wouldn't have believed him. Oh, you just telling me that because you don't want to hurt my feelings. He is in a no-win situation with that question. I don't know why she asked that. It's not a good question to ask. She could have picked a million questions for him to kind of open up and get to know each other. What would that have done but only cause this problem? So of course that dinner went downhill. They both turned cold toward each other after a wonderful painting date. And of course, she called this another tantrum of his, and so she's over it. I mean, at this point they're in separate beds. Then Daniel hears her talking at 1 a.m. going off on the phone about him. So it's going to be very, very interesting what happens with these couples, because in episode 16, her and Domenica is about to go head to head over this situation about her husband. So I'm looking forward to that. But we got another honeymoon to talk about. Let's talk about Kate and Matt. So we end up seeing Matt waking up just staring at Kate while she was sleeping, talking about first time in the bed with her is just absolutely magical. She is a very sexy woman. Whereas Kate pretty much said, we just pretty much went to bed. And I'm like, okay. So while we see Matt pretty much feeling a spark, Kate is absolutely not. And then, they got to their honeymoon venue. Matt is talking about how he feels like he's in The Notebook. Kate never even seen the movie, but she is fascinated by this clock that's on the living room wall. I'm like, yeah, this ain't going good. They end up going swimming where, of course, Matt is doing what they call them, bombshells or whatever in the water, and Kate is just like, whatever. But I'm glad that, we did get to see her kind of open up to him about how she felt and her situations about, her being not in a relationship ever. But I did hear her say that she did have sex with people, so she's not a virgin. She's just never had a boyfriend. So she's been with guys. They just never been in a long-term relationship with her or whatever, for whatever reason. I don't know if what we're seeing is indicative of why she hasn't been in a relationship. Some people say that's the case. But the thing is that it definitely softened him up, because he was like, okay, then I need to move a little bit slower with you, because of everything that happened, and people didn't find you attractive, and they didn't feel good enough to be in a long-term relationship, marry, or whatever. So that actually kind of softened Matt towards her, so that he felt that he needs to move and tread lightly and take time with her. So I'm wondering, is there enough time in the world? Because she looked like she is not even going to go for him at all. So I would tell him, don't hold your breath, because it looked like she's not in it for this one. So we'll have to continue to see. But we also got another honeymoon to talk about, and that's Carolina and Dion. Now, Carolina and Dion, they started off pretty good. Caroline said that she enjoyed having someone in bed to wake up to, but she did say that there was no romance, only Dion calling the hogs or snoring. She also realized that he has a ton of suitcases full of clothes, and that's more than what she actually has. Now, she did say she can kind of tell by how he carries himself and the stuff that he has that he definitely has a bit of money. But when the honesty box appears, as usual, Carolina starts to open up about being cheated on. And she said that I think the guy that she was dealing with was cheating at a mature ladies brothel. Wow. But when she was asked if she was attracted to Dion, she said that he's not her usual type. She does think that there's potential, but not there yet. She's just not there yet. Well, Dion was like, well, I'm attracted to you, so I'm just letting you know. But it was pretty interesting. Carolina had a lot to say to Dion when she thought the cameras were off and exactly what was on her mind. She said, well, we all know you got a little bit of money, and the girls that you were with, they probably pretended to be attracted to you because of the money that you have. I ain't that type of girl. I do like money. Who don't? But I ain't going to fake something to be with you just because you got some money. And he was like, well, I didn't think that. And then Carolina wasn't finished with him yet. She was like, did you think that you were hot, that people can't be attracted to you at first? And he was like, I'm sure many folks aren't attracted to me. But, and like he said, it was a real kick in the gut. I mean, it's like, I get it. You want to let him know I don't want to be here for the money. But just like we were saying about Andrew a few weeks ago, there's a way to say something. And she really kicked him in the gut. It wasn't cool, But, yeah, this one is ready to implode. The other one with Kate and her husband, I don't see that happening. And it's not because of, her husband, Matt. It's because of Kate. And then in regards to Jessica and Daniel, they already on the wrong foot after 24 hours. And then, remember, she's about to get into it with Domenica. So, yeah, that's going to be crazy. But let's talk about Jack and Domenica. So I know you guys remember that little tiff that they had at Kate and Matt's wedding reception about the comments that she was making and these little digs that she was throwing at Jack. Well, we did get to see Domenica apologizing for how she made Jack feel, which is what she's supposed to do. Miss, we need to show compassion. Yeah, you knew what you were doing. But I'm glad that, again, I give credit where credit is due. She apologized to her husband, especially how she made Jack feel. And Jack wasn't feeling good, especially when he's singing her praises all the time. And then all she got to talk about is how he don't put the toilet seat down. That's terrible. But she apologized, so we'll see. But again, I'm looking forward to what Domenica and, what's her name? Ella? What is that girl name? No, Jessica. Jessica has to do to in tomorrow's episode, because look like Domenica is about to go toe to toe with her. So we will definitely see. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.